The empty spaces of West Texas tell a story that few people know, and many people wouldn't even believe. In a state where conservative politics rejected the science of climate change, somehow Texas ended up leading the way on green energy. 15 years ago, lawmakers approved what became a $7 billion plan to support wind energy. The environment wasn't even the sell. The sell was if Texas supported wind power, business would flourish. Did that happen?
So you do quite a bit of driving in the wind industry.
The first promise was rural economic growth.
You're out in the country, you get to see the wildlife, you get to appreciate nature, and that's kind of what the wind industry is all about, green energy.
That's Bart Grimes. He's a safety manager for a company in Sweetwater, Texas that services wind turbines. Outside, the turbine is off for training purposes. On the inside, climbing a 250-foot ladder is part of the job.
People ever get freaked out climbing up inside these things?
The hardest part of the job is just getting on that ladder and going up.
In Texas, the wind blows hardest on the west side of the state, but most people live in the central or eastern parts. So Texas built 3,600 miles of electric transmission lines. After that, private investment in turbines exploded.
We're up at your side, and this right towards you. So you find that sweet spot, come all the way down.
The wind industry says it now supports 25,000 Texas jobs, many of them highly skilled.
I live in a rural area, and there's just no jobs if it wasn't for the wind. And we all know how the oil field is. It's a boom. It's here one day, gone the next. The wind industry, since I've been working in the wind industry 4.5, going on 5 years, I believe, I've never been laid off one time, and I've never been sent home because of the lack of work. It's a steady work.
Very stable, huh?
Very stable.
Before wind, the tax base in this county was about $700 million. After wind, it was $3.2 billion. Those dollars have helped build new school buildings and even a new jail.
Renewable energy is a huge growth industry. Also, there's no carbon emissions from the wind. How much do you really care about those things? Does it matter to you?
No, it really doesn't. I want a job and I want stability, and this is what I got. I make a good living and I'm able to provide for my family. That's what's important.
The second promise of the Texas plan was that wind would lower the price of electricity.
It's all about technology.
So that's why I'm here in Arlington, getting a tour of the General Motors assembly plant with Rob Threlkeld. He's GM's global manager for sustainable energy.
What is General Motors' position on climate change?
We recognize climate change. We look at renewables as a key component of us to reduce our carbon footprint.
This GM plant is a massive 5 million square feet. It's where they churn out gas-guzzling SUVs. But they're doing it with 100% Texas wind power.
What has happened to the cost of electricity since we could get that wind in from West Texas?
You've seen your cost of electricity go down. It's, wind energy is cheap, and so it's really, you're seeing a decrease in the prices overall.
Take a look at this. As Texas has produced more wind and the price of natural gas has fallen, we have seen lower electricity prices. They're down 7% since 2005, while the rest of the nation is up 29%. And GM has a 100% renewable energy goal. So do Facebook, and Google, and Walmart. It's these big companies that are driving demand for wind power.
Do you think the free market could have done this on its own? Created a scenario where you could get all that wind and buy it and power this whole place with it?
No, it is a balanced strategy between policy and the free market to really allow this to happen.
What wasn't promised with the Texas wind plan were lower carbon emissions, the kind that contribute to climate change. But that also happened.
House Committee on Redistricting will come to order.
15 years ago, Republican State Representative Phil King sponsored the Texas wind plan.
Is climate change an important consideration when it comes to that was a success?
It is for a lot of people. It's not a super big deal with me.
But in this case, Texas's pro-business climate was also good for the actual climate. According to the American Wind Energy Association, wind energy has helped Texas remove carbon emissions that are the equivalent of taking 11.5 million vehicles off the road.
If government gets out of the way, provides opportunity. The free market is always going to create ways to do things, and that's exactly what happened with the wind energy market in West Texas.
All right, so 15 years ago, the Texas legislature got behind wind in a big way. As a result, the state's energy mix has skyrocketed from 3% wind to 20% wind. And if Texas were its own country, it would be number 5 in the world for wind production. What I've learned is that rural economies have flourished, that the cost of electricity is down, and that carbon emissions have fallen as well. So was it a good move to support wind energy in Texas? The answer clearly is yes. If you've got something you want verified, send me an email.